Hello and welcome to a first photography in the field video on this channel. And today I'm about to shoot some landscape photography at the beach, so at the North Sea, and in St. Peter-Ording, which is the biggest stretch of beach in Germany. And I got my 16 to 35 millimeters with me, and I hope for some nice sunset colors. So let's check it out.
Alright, but first, where is it? Where is St. Peter-Ording? And it's very northwest in Germany, so it's about 2 hours away from Hamburg, the biggest city in the north of Germany, so it's really at the beach and close to the North Sea. And it's actually, the drive is pretty cumbersome. In the beginning you need about 40 minutes to get out of the city, then on the highway and... oh wait, this is really dirty. Let me just clean that up a little bit for you. You can't see anything. Alright, that's better. Where was I? Yes, so after the highway you get onto this big flat area which is very green, and it's packed with those wind turbines to the horizon. There's so much of it, it's incredible how much wind turbines they put there, but I guess it's green, so well, that's a nice touch. But you also pass those nice little and old buildings of agriculture, very old ones, and occasionally you also get some sheep in there and some other wildlife like big birds flying around. And at one time you actually get to this big long wall, and this wall is artificial and it's meant to protect the inland from the tides, so from the water flow, and it's actually pretty impressive. It's also a little bit frustrating because you're all the time driving alongside the sea, but you can't actually see the ocean until you get there, you get to the park up, and even then you have to go over this wall, and then in the end you see the sea. So it's a long drive, it's a scenic drive, it's a calm drive, and in the end finally we got to our park up, and as you can see the sun is already pretty low. But let me just show you what it's all about. Why did I choose this location, St. Peter-Ording? So let us have a look at St. Peter-Ording. And as you can see, so this is the city of St. Peter-Ording, and this one here is the beach of St. Peter-Ording. And it looks like there are two stretches of beach with some water in between. But once you go to the satellite version, this is a whole different image. So it's a really big stretch of sea, it's very big, and what you can't see on Google Earth, because the ocean is sometimes just looking like this, so it's blue. But when you go a little bit down here, you can see how this actually looks like when there's low tide. And let me just go in there a little bit to show you where I started. So the park up you just arrived was basically here. So this is the park up, and actually this one here. There you have this big wall, and then you go over this wall and you see the beach, and the water is very far away, so it's a long way to get to the actual beach. All the way you have to walk there, and then you have those nice buildings. So let me just open this up and let's just go to one of those images. So my plan was to go there when it's low tide during the sunset hours to capture some nice reflections, some nice structure in the sand with the orange and purple glowing light from the sunset. So this is how it looks when there's low tide, and this is how it looks when there's high tide, or incoming or retrieving tide. So enough of the introduction, now let's get to the adventure. So as I said in the beginning, it's quite a long way to get to the actual beach, and as you can see those buildings are pretty far out in the distance. But it's just something different to get to the beach. It's a whole nother experience. So there's all those dry grasses which are just flattened by the wind, so there's actually nothing stopping the wind from the ocean to the land. It's coming with all its brutal force and coldness, but it's also very yeah, relaxing, I would say. There's nothing, you just hear the wind, there are not a lot of people around, and it's quite a nice scene once you get there. And once we got there, I just wandered around a little bit and did some test shots to get a feeling of what is possible. And it's all about finding those little structures in the sand, so this is what I was going for in some of those test shots, and I really liked how they turned out.
So I was checking out some photo spots over there, and yeah, I think I found one for tonight when the sunset is hitting. But now I want to also check out this building right there, which looks pretty cool. There are a lot of birds, so maybe they fly in one moment and I just can capture a nice image with them. So I didn't get really far from there to there. I stopped here, but because there's this nice puddle of water which can create a nice reflection for the building. So the building, this one is not reflected, but this post there with the sign is also reflected, and it just really gives a nice vibe. So I really go down with the wide angle, so as close as I can go to the ground. I'm about 28 millimeters here, and I'm actually doing an exposure stack because there's so much dynamic range here, and I really want to be able to push the editing process, so every slider, so that the highlights are not blown out. And yeah, I hope it looks really cool. As you can see in the far background, there's already some nice sunset colors, so yeah, it's a nice start. It's all about finding little structures in the foreground to play around with the wide angle lens.
So, unfortunately, I didn't get a picture with the flying birds, but then I wandered just more towards the sea and I checked it out. And here's what I found. Right, but now it was time to finally get to the spot, and I struggled a lot to find the right composition, but the sun is already setting, so I had to get out my filters and get down with the tripod, find the right composition, and then just go.
Alright, so as you can see, the sun is now really going down and those colors look already pretty beautiful, but it was quite a challenge to find a nice composition. So the main subject is this building behind me, and I also want to include some structure, so some puddles and some structure in the sand, but there are a lot of different tracks, so animal tracks, a lot of people walking around here, so it's kind of difficult to find a spot that is already, or that hasn't been altered with. And yeah, for the shot, so I tried to bring the camera pretty low, and I have some nice structure here in the sand, and I really want to have some reflection of the sky. So I'm hoping that there will be some more color in the sky, which then will be reflected in those puddles of water. And with 60 millimeters, so this building is basically to the left side of the frame. And yeah, I hope this turns out good. And now we have those people, but they will be gone. And yeah, so this is the shot. So basically I have those puddles of water here. I have this nice leading line towards the sunset, hopefully, and hopefully some reflection here. I would like to go lower to capture more reflection in those puddles, but the tripod doesn't allow me to do so. And yeah, so on this left hand side, the building, and let's make a test shot. F18, so everything should be more or less in focus. Let's do a slightly brighter one. And let's see. Yeah, it's pretty much in focus actually. Doesn't look too bad. So yeah, I maybe can do some longer exposure later on. and I hope that the light gets a little bit more pink, violet, and yeah, this looks pretty promising.
And promising it was, but it got even better once the sun peeked out of those clouds.
Alright, so the sun is actually peeking out of those clouds and it looks fantastic. And the lower I go, the more I can have of those kinds of reflection here. So as you can see here maybe, and here you can probably see it pretty well in the image. So this looks pretty nice. I'm actually doing an exposure stack, so different exposures just to have a little bit more of dynamic range. But yes, this looks fantastic. Also the structure in the cloud, it's just amazing.
And here it is, the image that I imagined before coming to St. Peter-Ording. And I'm actually very happy with it. So undoubtedly I would have liked a little bit more of color and pink clouds there, but it was still very amazing. I was very lucky to find this reflection of the sunset, which is leading straight towards the sun. It's a nice anchor to have the building on the left hand side, and all in all, I'm very happy with the final result. However, I wasn't done yet, and I wanted to check out the other side of the building, and that's where I went next.
Alright, and with that, I leave St. Peter-Ording behind me. It was very nice, so the sunset was really great. We had some clouds. They were not moving, unfortunately, so I really was imagining an image with some movement in the clouds. But either way, the structure was pretty nice, so I didn't need any movement in the clouds. However, I struggled to find some untouched sand structures and puddles, so it's mid-January, it's winter, but there's so many people out there with their dogs or just by their own, and there were tracks all over the place. So I really struggled to find a nice place to take the photograph. But yeah, I really hope that you like this photo shoot, that you like this video. I want to bring more content like this. This is what really inspires and motivates me. Being out in the field, taking the photographs and just having a blast. And I hope you did as well. Maybe this also is a motivation for you to go out and take some photographs right now. And yeah, thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.